एकं अक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदय कुहर मध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् इति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मुज्झता पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयं जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तभावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावः ओहं भावयुत कुतो वरधिया दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday Satsangh from Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, as usual, we will be reading from the work Guruvachaka Kovai by Muruganar Swamigal. We will be reading 2 verses. Each verse reading will be followed by a short meditation on its meaning, and that will be followed by a 10-minute practice of Atma Ucharam. After these 2 verse readings, meditation and Atma Ucharam sessions are completed, there will be a summing up by our President, Dr. Sharadaka, and that will be followed by an offering of Sri Ramanastotram chanting by Vaibhavji and Pratnama. We begin this evening satsang by taking a verse from Guruvachaka Kovai. We have been given by Revathi, verse number 849 to begin with. So we go to 849. This is from the segment Meditation on the Truth. As we have seen, Muruganar Swamigal has given us this work in 3 segments: investigation into the truth, meditation on the truth, and anubhavam or experience of the truth. So verse 849, it is found in the subsegment, the necessity of destroying the ego. The segment is meditation on the truth. The subsegment is the necessity of destroying the ego. Verse 849. The distinguishing characteristics of righteous dharma may, like ornaments that are made of gold, appear to be diverse. The distinguishing characteristics of righteous dharma may, like ornaments that are made of gold, appear to be diverse. However, just as ordinary gold is essentially the truth of all distinguishing features of the golden ornaments, distinction-free self-sacrifice, tyaga, is the essential truth of the distinguishing attributes of dharma. The essential nature of ego, its problem, is that it likes multiplicity. Where multiplicity is not there, it likes to divide and enjoy the choices and suffer from the multiplicity of choices. So one of the ways to destroy the ego is to show clearly that multiplicity is really not there. There is an underlying unity which alone we should take in any field. Here, Bhagavan is giving us how to unify the whole field of the complex multiplicity of dharmas. So let us go into the verse again. There are quite a few footnotes. I think the footnotes I will read slowly, and that should be the meditation on the verse. So the main nature of the verse is that the multiplicity of dharmas, apparently speaking truth, taking care of parents, being responsible towards country, doing the duties that are apportioned to Pitrus, during the duties that are due to God, all these things appear to be sometimes multiple and conflicting too at some other times. So Bhagavan is saying, the distinguishing characteristics of righteous dharma may, like ornaments that are made of gold, appear to be diverse. However, just as ordinary gold is essentially the truth of all the distinguishing features of the golden ornaments, distinction-free self-sacrifice, tyaga, is the essential truth of the distinguishing attributes of dharma. So, what is the thread that Bhagavan is giving us? It is self-sacrifice is the essence of all dharmas. Where would the conflict come? It is easier to tell a lie. It will involve punishment when I tell a truth. Can I undergo that sacrifice to hold the truth? Now, therefore, the tyaga, the aged parents may be depending on us. They may lose their ability to be coherent, and it will involve a lot of difficulties. It may appear totally different from the need to speak truth. But what is the underlying thread between both? Both speaking truth, holding ethics in business, and taking care of elders, all these dharmas involve self-sacrifice. When your jiva wants to take some comfort, can you offer that comfort to the dharma in self-sacrifice? So self-sacrifice is the underlying thread of the different dharmas. Muruganar, the gifting of food, the gifting of gold and so on are the distinguishing attributes of dharma. A crown and an ear ornament are the specific attributes of golden ornaments. All those attributes have no meaning by themselves apart from the attribute-free dharma and gold. Just as the specific attributes of ornaments cannot exist without gold, the distinguishing attributes of dharma cannot exist without self-sacrifice, tyaga. Like the soul that remains within, animating the body, it is tyaga that remains within dharma and animates it. Dharma that do not have at least a trace of tyaga mingled in them, like a lifeless corpse, are useless. Tyaga is renunciation of I and mine, the inner and outer attachments. I is the inner attachment, mine is the outer attachment, is a simple way of knowing I and mine. Though cows may be different in color, there is no difference in the color of the milk they yield. Like that milk, the way of virtue, dharma, is one in essence. Like cows, it assumes many forms in the world, but the essence is tyagam. That is Naladiyar, verse 118. There is a beautiful reference from talks, which also I will read through slowly. This is talk number 581. When a child held something to be offered to Sri Bhagavan by the parents, they cajoled the child to offer it to Sri Bhagavan. The child did so gladly. Bhagavan remarked, look at this. When the child can give away a thing to Jeja, God, it is tyaga. See the influence Jeja has on children also. Every gift implies unselfishness. That is the whole content of Nishkama Karma, unselfish action. It means true renunciation. If the giving nature is developed, it becomes tyaga. If anything is willingly given away, it is a delight to both the giver and to the receiver. When we lose 100 rupees, it is terrible sorrow for us. When we see somebody in need and see that light spring into their eyes, when we do this small thing to them by putting it into their hands, that is when we voluntarily lose the same thing, there is incredible joy in both the receiver and the giver. That is how the offering of the ego should be in Atma Vicharam, says Bhagavan. Gladly offer this useless thing. He will give everything in return. If the giving nature is developed, it becomes tyaga. If anything is willingly given away, it is a delight to the giver and to the receiver. If the same is stolen, it is misery to both. Dhana, donations, usually to God or the Guru, dharma, nishkama karma, are all tyaga only. When the mind is given up, it is chitta shuddhi. When the I is given up, it is jnana. When the nature to give away is developed, it results definitely in jnana. Again, a little later, a young boy came all alone, unescorted by his parents. He had come from Chengam in a bus. It is about 33 kilometers now, and those days 33 kilometers must have meant quite a long distance of travel. He had come from Chengam in a bus. Sri Bhagavan remarked, the boy has left his parents to come here. This is also an instance of tyaga. When something is happily given, then there is happiness to the giver and the receiver. The Guru, the Paramatma, is waiting to receive our thoughts and our ego happily. And what does he give in return? He gives his own infinite peace, infinite shanti, infinite shakti, infinite vairagya. Shantir nithantam adhikam paramasya shakti, vairagyam adbhutatama, karuna. Karunatu Swami, the compassion, the Shanti, the Shakti, which we cannot even imagine, are replaced. The ego is replaced by all that. Now, when we are told by Bhagavan like this, who will not happily give away thought and ego? So, let us practice Atma Vicharam for about 10 minutes. The art of giving happily the thought that arises and the ego that remains hidden, both to the source, the self. When a thought arises, do not try to use it in any way, do not try to complete it, says Bhagavan. But ask for whom is this thought? The answer will be for me. Immediately let go of the thought and ask, who am I? That way, the ego is also offered in an act of ultimate self-sacrifice. What self-sacrifice? We are giving away nothing and receiving everything. Therefore, one should happily practice Atma Ucharan. Let us sit for 10 minutes in Atma Ucharan. Vaibhavji is here with us?
Yes, sir. I can set the time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We go on to the reading of the second verse, verse 680 of the Guru Vachaka Kove. This too is from the segment Meditation on the Truth. The subsegment is Purity. The subsegment is Purity. The verse is 680. Even though the body, a fleshy lump of filth, is cleansed again and again through many cleansing practices, it repeatedly generates filth through the 9 orifices. On noticing this, you should develop disgust for the body and completely abandon attachment to it. It is for this purpose alone, developing disgust and abandoning attachment, that the scriptures emphasize bodily purity. So the bodily purity and the mental purity are advised by the scriptures. Here, Muruganar Swamigal, the absolute renunciate that he is, brings us to the starting point of the path of sannyasa. That is, the sannyasis, when they take the sannyasa diksha, they take a vow to be totally detached from the body and the plane that it reveals. Now that is what is brought out here. That is, even though the body, a fleshy lump of filth, is cleansed again and again through many cleansing practices, it repeatedly generates filth through the 9 orifices. On noticing this, you should develop disgust for the body and completely abandon attachment to it. It is for this purpose alone, developing disgust and abandoning attachment, that the scriptures emphasize bodily purity. Now, let us look at the whole situation of how one has to free oneself from attachment. Initially, this freeing necessarily has to take the part of aversion or disgust. Initially, when we see somebody who will be a wrong influence to us, who will lead us astray, and our previous experience shows that this person is going to give me an experience in the next half an hour of discussions that is going to put my spiritual journey off by so many months or years. Then I have seen serious sadhakas run away from that spot with aversion. Let me not be here. They will just run away. And that is necessary at that part of the journey. In the initial part of our spiritual journey, we have to necessarily strongly keep away from those things which will put us off the sadhana path. That is, the bodily attachment, the attachment to its strength, to its beauty, to its capability to do things. These things is what is addressed by Muruganar Swamigal by showing the opposite of it. What we think as its strength, its beauty, its ability to do things is shown in the opposite side, that every time you clean it, it comes up with more dirt within the next few hours, which requires cleaning once again. And Muruganar Swamigal says, like a bad company, you should know that this is to be detached from. But when we look at the art of detachment, Bhagavan says in Who Am I, that aversion matures into complete dropping of like and dislike. Both like and aversion have to be dropped, says Bhagavan. Detachment means complete freeing from like and aversion. Both desire and aversion are to be averted, says Bhagavan. So, in the initial stages, which we are able to see ourselves, that we are strongly attracted to certain things, there a strong repulsion has to come necessarily for us to move away from that. I have seen serious sadhakas benefit greatly from this. They will see and they will run. They will see and they will make lot of faces and get away from that. This not in one situation, in many situations. And that definitely helps. Muruganar is addressing that issue because this is the first verse in the segment of purity where there is a strong attachment. It cannot be averted by just an intellectual understanding of I should look without like and dislike. No, it doesn't work. Where the attachment is strong, the aversion or keeping away has to be strong. You should realize that in this area I am strongly attached, so I have to make this effort to move away. if there is a strong attachment to certain things in the body, it has to be put away by aversion only. But as that matures, the detachment doesn't involve that kind of aversion. The detachment is very gentle. Urvaruham iva bandhana. The bandham is released not by aversion. Aversion is another. We will see that in many religions. Many religions are talked down by the rationalists or the atheists because each of them create an aversion for other paths. No, they don't create. They have left those messages for the beginners. For the beginners to stick on to the path. Unless there is strong aversion, they will be dissipating energy by looking into so many avenues, and their Shakti is limited. To avert that, all the religions will put certain remarks that all these paths are waste, only our path is correct. But they all know that as the detachment matures, our God is not merely the God of Nagarajan family. Our God is not merely the God of RMCL. Our God is not merely the God of Indians. Our God is not even merely the God of the whole world. Whatever worlds may be, Ramana is the God. Bhagavan, Ramana, is the one Shakti which runs all creation. Therefore, all created beings are under his purvey, under his umbrella of Karuna. There is not a single being who is not taken care of by Ramana. So, the same detachment comes with great gentleness. Without like and dislike, one is able to do the same detachment from the body. But in the beginning stages, necessarily, when we observe that we have a strong attachment, it has got to be replaced by strong aversion. We have to avoid those things which drag us away from the spiritual path. But as Bhagavan takes us higher and higher, we understand his Karuna is for everyone, is for everything. There is no need to be afraid of anything. There is no need to get detached by aversion. Both desire and aversion are not necessary, irrespective of what challenge comes. There is no reaction. There is only action. There is only Purna Sattva. And the purity of body and purity of mind actually brings in that silence to the situation. And the peace of silence is given even to the worst offender. The body is filled with that silence. Whoever may come is given that same silence. That is where Bhagavan takes us. That absolute purity of consciousness fills the body with the same and permeates onto the one who has come. And therefore, neither the body nor anyone is seen as a challenge, because it is all filled by the same spirit, which does not have any kind of desire or any kind of aversion. Till such nature of awareness or consciousness completely free of like and dislike is realized to be our nature, one should be alert. One should be aware. Arey, I am having this strong bodily attachment. Therefore, I should have aversion, as Muruganar says, and put aside these thoughts. Put aside the necessity to go 500 kilometers to get some particular food or something like that. With Bhagavan's grace, we can indeed move from strong aversion to gentle detachment of Urvarugam Ivabandhana. Bhagavan Shankara says, just like the mature cucumber is released or releases itself from the mother vine in such a gentle fashion, that's all. There is neither injury to the vine nor to the cucumber. Like that comes the detachment from the body. The body and consciousness are not affecting each other. The consciousness is completely freed by neither like nor dislike. Till that becomes our nature, one has to practice Atma Vichara, which brings in this detachment from the body automatically. Whenever a thought of the body will come, one has to inquire, for whom is this thought? The answer will come, this thought is for me. Then ask, who am I? As mentioned in the previous verse, the outer attachment of mind and the inner attachment as I am this body will drop away with practice of Atma Vichara. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let him give us the intelligence where to have strong aversion and where to understand that now Bhagavan has given us maturity of gentleness of awareness, which itself is detachment. With Bhagavan's grace, let us sit in practice of Atma Vicharam for 10 minutes. Hey Bhuji, you can set the time for us.
Yes, sir. I'll set the time.
to move on, I request our President, Dr. Sharda Pai, to give us the Samima.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of that self, manifest as Ramana, we have been able to practice the self-inquiry and to experience that presence through self-inquiry, whereby the taste of the bliss is there to whatever extent it is there, the taste of the silence is there to whatever extent it is there, that automatically draws us to itself. That is Bhagavan's gracious manner. At the same time, one finds that in everyone's lives, there are plenty of ups and downs. And what is the situation? Why is this up and down given to us? Why are the difficulties given to us in life? It is only to turn the mind inward. That means to create a repulsion towards the externalized life. Only when there are some difficulties, if the mind will turn inwards, only when there are difficulties, then difficulties appear. When there is, as Nandakumarji said, if the mind will not feel aversion gently, if it will not go into the self, then it is to be forced. In the traditional method of teaching, there is Sama, Dana, Bedha, Danda. There are 4 methods. There is Sama. The first one is to Sama is just to say, this is the right thing to do. You tell a person who is a mature seeker or a mature child, you tell the child, this is the right thing to do. The child will internalize it automatically. The child, we can even see children telling themselves, this is the right thing to do. Sometimes, they talk to themselves, children, and they will do it. But if they do not listen to that, then what is called is dana is given. Still, it's a good thing only, a reward. If you do the right thing, I will give you a reward. If you do self-inquiry, you will get silence, you will get purnatva. All these rewards are pointed out to us. Actually, there is no reward for anybody, because who is the person to get the reward at the end of self-inquiry? There's nobody there. But then the rewards are shown to us. The greatness of self-inquiry is given to us. Bhagavan says, Sarva klesha nivritti syat phalam atma vicharataha. All kleshas will be destroyed. All your dukkha will be destroyed. All difficulties will be destroyed. In fact, in Ramana Gita, first chapter, he says, whatever you desire will be coming to you at the end of that state. Whether you are interested in it or not is a different question he points out, of course. But, so dana is given. Now, if some children are some of us don't learn, we don't understand the sorrow in this world. We don't understand the sorrow in adharma. You see, Professor Swaminathan would say, you cannot come to Atma Vichara if you are telling lies. You just can't come. You have to go through the path of dharma. Because as Nandakumarji said, that is the first sacrifice you have to make. You have to be ready to sacrifice the untruth for the truth. You have to be ready to be sacrificed, to be scolded in case you are telling the truth. You have to be ready to sacrifice the difficulty you have to face in order to live the truth, tell the truth. It is not easy. Sometimes there are decisions we may make, like Bhagavan would, N.R. Krishnamurti says, Bhagavan would remain silent sometimes and not tell the truth. But then, it is only as a higher truth. The higher truth of ahimsa, he was holding when he was not saying that. And even there, if it would be, he would not abstain from scolding people individually. Sometimes he would not withhold his harsh words to people. He would be strict with people. He would be strict with his disciples. In fact, they say that if they were closer to him and they were more serious about the path, Bhagavan would be more strict with them. Because that is the higher good. So the Bheda is also done. The Bheda is saying that, see, somebody else is doing the right thing, you are not doing it. They are better than you. They are doing better. So this comparison, which is actually not a good thing, to compare someone with someone is not really, it's not a reality, it's not the truth. Why is it not good? Because there are no two things which are the same in manifestation. But the Veda is done. And finally, if even that doesn't work, then Danda is given. Of Sri Ramachandra, Tyagaraja Swami says, Sarasa Samagana Veda Danda Chatura. He is Chatura in all, he says. But he will wait. He will wait till the last moment, very last moment before giving the danda. That is the gentleness. He will give every opportunity for the devotee to turn around and say, to recognize their own fault and come forth and express or say, no, I am sorry, I made a mistake. I want to change. That last chance, till the last moment, chance will be given. That is the gentleness which Nandakumarji was talking to us about, that Bhagavan gives us that chance. Right at the beginning, he says, drop the ego, drop the thought. But if we don't listen to that, then he points out to us that, yes, there are difficulties, there is Veda. If you do this, you will suffer. You will suffer. There is suffering. There is pain. And in fact, in the Anubandham again, he uses such a strong analogy. He says to want to get self-knowledge while holding on to the body identity is like trying to cross a river on the back of a crocodile. He says that. We are not Ganga Mata to ride on the crocodile, you see. If that degree of purity is there, you will ride on the crocodile. That's what Nandakumarji says. No, if you have that degree of purity, the body itself becomes pure. What is a crocodile when the ego is there becomes a vahana. If one is the very Ganga of the self. So that is how one has to. This is not for somebody else. Again and again, and Kumarji points out to us also, and Bhagavan also says, this is for applying to ourselves. It is not telling anybody else that they should treat it like this or that. Each one of us has to be alert to our own attachments. Each one of us has to recognize where we are getting carried away. And there sometimes within us itself we can use the strong measure of self-inquiry repeatedly in that area. See, self-inquiry is both gentle and strong. That is the beauty of self-inquiry. It is the gentlest and it is the strongest. So we should very attentively, we must try and say, okay, this area, there is a strong attachment. So I must get back. I must get back through recognizing that this attachment will take me away from the self. It will take me away from the self. That is the difference. It will give me sorrow is one part, but what Nandakumarji is very beautifully brought home to us today is that it will take me away from the self, and that is sorrow. That is sorrow, says Bhagavan. If I don't realize that just moving away from the self itself is sorrow, then further sorrows I have to experience at the emotional level, thought level, and then physical. And further still at the gross level, I will have to experience some sorrows. He will make us experience why out of his own grace. So that we turn back with him. We turn back with him. Actually, very sweetly, Nandakumarji has shared his own anubhava in his life that whenever he would leave self-inquiry for some very valid reason and come back to the so-called world to attend to some very urgent duties. After the duties were over, if he overstayed without returning to his self-inquiry, Bhagavan would force him through some giving him some little Kanini Kakshi and Rodi Arindane Kanvidiyal and then Kannattile says Satyavangal Ramana. Nothing. Bhagavan through his glance is giving us a slap, he says. He's just giving us a tight slap through his glance, saying that what are you doing with all this? Get back, get back, get back. And that is the very sweetness of the devotees, that they are sharing all this with us, that he has shared it with us. And it is our experience also. Actually, everyone says, even this time I was sharing with Kannan in the ashram, Ramanashram. I was saying sometimes we realize we have gone amiss when we can see that Bhagavan is not looking at us. I mean, he is not that physically he doesn't look, not that he doesn't allow us to see his face. But then there is all the great ones I've seen. Suri Nagama, when she did not face the truth, Bhagavan did not look at her for so many days. And she didn't realize why she was wrong. She was actually wanting to be his assistant in the library, to see him and talk to him. But when Bhagavan asked her, what is troubling you? Instead of saying, I have lost my job here, I have lost my closeness with you, she told him, Bhagavan, all I want is self-knowledge. Imagine, it looks like we are saying the very right thing to Bhagavan. No, I want only self-knowledge. I don't want anything else. But Bhagavan didn't accept that because that was not the truth. She wanted something and she was hiding the truth from him. And so he just turned away. It's at that moment when she said, all I want is self-knowledge, you expect that Bhagavan will be very pleased. And he turns away. And he is not looking at her for 1 week. He is just ignoring her. Paramukam. Then she didn't understand what was happening. In the middle of the night, she went away for Giripradakshinam because of her great sorrow, that tapam. And suddenly at Panchamukam, she thought, Bhagavan, I don't want anything. I want to be with you. I want to enjoy your company. I want your smile. And when she said that and she looked up, and there used to be millions of stars visible in Tiruvannamalai, and she saw Bhagavan smiling from every star. From every star. So unless we begin with the truthfulness, that truthfulness is truthfulness within ourselves to every attachment, to every thought. Oh, thought has come, but this is not the truth. I have to get back to the final truth, because at every level, if we are not truthful, we cannot get to the final truth. That's why Bhagavan says we must use any tool available to us to get back. Bhagavan will allow us to use any tool, whether it's Sama, Dana, Beda, Danda, within ourselves to get back to the final state of the self which he is longing to give to us. If at all he is longing for anything, if at all he has any concern, it is that concern alone. That is the compassion for all the jivas, as he said again, to every jiva on this earth, for every, what we call jiva, even the non-living beings, everything, for everything, to fill everything with that self is his purpose. It is Arunachala's purpose for which Bhagavan has become manifest. And that is the great solace and strength also that we have, that he's there through all this apparent ups and downs, and through the difficult journey. We have to fight it out. We have to, but then he's there. He is the one who is really fighting, as Krishna said to Arjuna. But we have to go through the motions. We have to do it. There is no compromise on that. That's what the verses today are telling us, with lot of love and strength. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ram.
We can start the chanting.
Yes, sir. नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योमि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासे नमः ॐ शेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ गमनीय सुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लप्तविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशत शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ च्यूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविप्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिकाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजितचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईद्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीषोणाचलहृद्भूतस्कन्धाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिवृन्देन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋक्चान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुदराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रह सुप्रवाह विवश सारात्म्यभावं गतः नित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकरान् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः लोकोत्तर ज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. Thank you.
Namo Ramana, sir.